This is Maboneng Township Arts Experience. You are speaking to the founder, Siphiwe Ngwenya. We appreciate you. Maboneng Township Arts Experience has turned so many homes and so many spaces into art spaces so the people who live in those spaces can enjoy them, and the people who come to those spaces from all over the world can also enjoy them. This is the story of Maboneng Township Arts Experience, working with families, artists, and visitors. In the first episode and the second episode, we dealt with all the artworks that were in the very first exhibitions that I did as Siphiwe Ngwenya. What you're seeing again now is one of those artworks from the Pole series. I said I'd also make a separate video, and that will still come. This is the finished artwork by MSE in one of our exhibitions at 12th Avenue in Alexandra Township at a car wash that was owned and run by Mpani and Chris. You see Steve Biko, "United We Stand," as the graffiti mural. I think that's Denzel standing right there next to the picket fence. This is how we live. This is how we learn how to change townships into towns. How we put our hands on the ground and move the mud. This is a step-by-step thing. It's a journey that I have had to engage myself in fully, not being scared. There have been times when I have been so broke in this journey, where I've been told, "Yo, Siphiwe, you must quit." Where I've told myself, I must quit. But when I see images like this, every time I go back to them, I realize something is possible. Even though the material wasn't that good, the preparation of the wall wasn't that good. I mean, you see this image. The painting is already flaking. The paint is flaking from the wall. This is from the very first exhibition that we did here at 12th Avenue after we did our exhibition at 4th Avenue in Alexandra Township. But my point is, we'll see it later, man. Just because the material is not good doesn't mean we don't have to do it. Doesn't mean that we have to forfeit the feeling of doing things the way we want to do them, especially when it means righteousness for the township and spreading a good message. This really touches me because it means that there have been a lot of people with a lot of resources since this time who have used art budgets to the extreme, and we've been using what we can, and still the township hasn't changed. But I'm not complaining, because I'm really here to say, if you look behind Marcelo's smile, right deep in her face, you see a warrior. If you look behind her face, behind her image, behind her body, right at the back there, you see artworks. That's the spirit, okay? That's the spirit of our lives, that we're not gonna stop. We did that artwork on cupboard doors, okay? And after this exhibition, I know that I still couldn't stop. I realized that there were other people that needed to see what we were doing. And I started going to Sandton, going to anywhere that was close to me that could sell art. I mean, there were people that would say also, yo, why don't you come to this place? And this is IDC. I remember that we were trying to exhibit some artwork here with a lady that eventually took some of our artworks and didn't bring them back. And those artworks actually belonged to Soli Mokhashwa, who also eventually passed away. Very supporting, mentoring elder in the arts, wonderful sculptor. And his works disappeared here in our hands when we entrusted them to somebody who was saying that they could exhibit our stuff here. But we also engaged other people to come here and exhibit their artworks. I can see here there's an artist from Alexandra 7th Avenue, Undabugo, who I was introduced to by Kumbulani Ngeti, who used to work for my mom at our family business of making fat cakes. He was from Natal, and he actually stayed with me in my room and introduced me to this guy who was a musician and also a fabulous artist who went very far. Very supportive artist also in my movement, who said, Siphiwe, here's the artwork, try market when you can. And I did what I could, and there was a lot, I guess, that I could not do. But I guess I learned a lot as well in the process. But also I'm like, it's possible that I could have gotten there and found those art pieces there. You know, there's a high possibility that I eventually met Ndabugo after this journey, not knowing that I found his artwork here, because the main artist I remember was Soli Mokhashwa. Then my exhibition sort of turned into something else, you know. I mean, there you can see Harry lifting his hands there. I mean, look at that. He is now the experience manager, guide in Alexandra Township and all the other townships that we work with. That's Bule, you know, Bule Hlajwayo, who also, like Harry and all the other people that I've been speaking about, have really added a very beautiful texture to my life with their wisdom, you know. Look at this guy in this band. What was his name again? Oh man, how could I? He had a very prophetic name, you know. But these are guys I met in Yeovil, you know. These are guys I met in town who came to support me here in Alexandra Township, you know, going between shacks and houses, seeing films that we made together with Bule and his wife, who was just there with the turban. I think she'll just showcase herself again here. But we were inside Armageddon's house, who I was within squatter camp with, showing films there in his house. And this is basically all my neighbors behind my house, in front of my house. These are people who understood where I came from, my journey, and were very happy to be a part of my journey. And I remember here I was Rasta, so I had a lot of Rasta friends like Bule who were together with me in my journey. There are other Rasta guys who were singers who came to support us and played, you know, they didn't even want money from us. And, you know, everybody just came through, you know. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, the fashion, the culture, everything was all a collaborative effort, you know. Everybody was running their own things somehow, some way, and we were just finding a way to put it together, you know. They were doing their own hip-hop, you know, but they recorded it at our studio, which was just right next door to this particular shop where we were doing this, you know. I mean, he's now fabulous artists, like a big artist used to write for Pitch Black Afro. There's an Alexandra band, they're also now doing big things, and I guess this is the most important thing about this, is that it was allowing itself to engage spaces, activate spaces. This was a church. We turned it into a theater, and this theater was a piece that was directed by Bule Hladrayo and, some of these other partners that they did this with, And I guess this was really very important to me, because this was really shaping me as myself, as a character, to become someone who was like, okay, this thing that I'm doing is not only stopping at just the visual arts. I'm a musician. I like music. I love film. I edit. I shoot. All of this stuff can be engaged. And I engaged myself with Firstborn for music. I engaged myself with Bule for film. I engaged myself with other local artists, Chris MSE for visual arts, and other local artists in Alexandra Township, and other people I guess I started working with around this time, because I was already doing artworks at the taxi rank and other different areas. I've got different videos on this that you can explore as well. But I love this. Look at Harry right there, the tallest guy. He's just moved out of the video. But it goes to show how important this time is and was to us, And this is Date Sole Mokhashwa. We were at his house here. I'm actually with a guy called Motubatsi. Here, Motubatsi is sharing a story of where he comes from. He finds out by chance that Date Sole Mokhashwa, these are his sculptures in his house. His house is a sculpture park of its own. He's just, this is his studio. He works from here. It's a one-room studio. He sleeps there. He's got, oh my gosh, I cannot even believe. He's amazing, okay? He's working with railway wood, okay? That the wood that they use in the railways, he's using that to do all these sculptures, and also works with leather, which that's what his surname means. But now Motobatsi is now telling him where his mom comes from. And he then tells him, no, I know your mom. Your mom, I used to work with your mom in the 70s because I used to be a photographer. Long story short, this becomes just a huge cathartic thing, and we get very much closer. But he passes away after some time. We continue our exhibitions. Who you see here is Ingrid, who's now visiting our other exhibition that we had also around my house. Now, Ingrid has already bought a piece by Sis Fatima from 3rd Avenue. I think it was like 250 or 300 or something like that rands, and she's now following us in our journey, and now when I think about it, we she finds us still in Cape Town doing the same thing 10 years after this or something like this, okay? I'm sure there'll be footage where we'll see her much later on in the journey, but she then shows me that what we are doing is really very important, number one. Number two, that we can bring an audience into the township that wants to see the township prosper, okay? We can then work with different people from around the township to then make everybody their own brand in some way. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think as we go through these videos, it will be clear. This is Bule. Bule is now playing a very pivotal role in my life, where he and I are conceptualizing a lot. We're meeting a lot of people. He's introducing me to a lot of people in his network. He's teaching me his skills in film. He's introducing me to Tony Khorocha. Tony Khorocha is introducing me to Dumandlovu. Oh, no, wait. Pule is introducing me to both these guys, actually, because he was working there as a director. Tony Horoha then says that I can help them edit or teach their editors there. I remember learning how to edit because of this, okay? Learning how to use Final Cut Pro. I mean, I'm using this Mac that I got sponsored by Nonku Hlongwa, basically, who is a family friend, close family friend, who saw what I was doing and basically moved me into another mission, where it's like, you want to do this, then do it. Here's a Mac. What else do you need? What else do you need? We will talk about that separately, about what we did with her, because there's a separate video about that. But anyway, Pule is now helping me do my thing with my art and my exhibitions and what I'm trying to do. I'm helping him do his thing with his films and what he's trying to do. We are Rasta together. We live around each other. At some point, we live together in two different places, One place is like in Alex, where I am frequenting his house so much. I sleep over a lot. And then we end up living with each other in Orange Grove. Sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom, and saying that we are in a company together. That sort of falls out and breaks out into pieces. But I guess the big thing that I take out from the relationship is that we did not play around when we were together. We really took each other seriously. Everything we talked about, we did. If I said, I think I want to do an exhibition and I want to do this thing like this and like that and like that, okay, sure. We go, we walk every single place, make sure we organize this thing and it's done. Just like Teboho, just like all the other people, just like Zach, just like MSE, just like every single artist I've met and am with in all these videos, who has not taken me as a joke and has been like on a serious level of, when I say something, it's serious. Yes, let's do it. Okay, I'm going to be doing it with those people. Sure, let's go do it with those people. Okay, then all of a sudden there's like 50 of us and we're all doing something around one place, okay? Yes, of course, that will cause some sort of problems in terms of governance, how we govern our things and things like that. But I guess that is got nothing to do with what we learn from this and what we take out from this and what we become as individuals from this, because at this moment in time I'm still very young, I'm still growing, I'm still learning what to do on a larger scale with my talent and with the idea that I've been blessed with, because I'm just doing it, I'm not stopping, and we are in Debza's yard, who again, Deboho, of course, he's been with me since the very first exhibition. And, we're going to make a separate video just about him, and also part of the governance problem of townships and how our relationship sort of messed up. But what we took out of that is what we learned, and we're still together with Pule. I still go visit him, go support what he sells and everything, so we're still there. We're just not working with each other. But I see Joseph, who's sitting there. He's now passed away, the guy who's sitting in that image right now. And he was really another helper and assistant that God put into my life through Pule and through the whole Rasta movement that was that we were involved in. And such a kind brother who I've gone with to Cape Town, to Bloemfontein, who's looked after me in my most weakest of times. When I was Rasta, it was a very hard time. I had no, it was very hard to get money at this time. I mean, I used to edit, and that point, that was a really good income that would help me and also help other guys in the Rasta movement who did not have money. And that was very important for myself to see that I am a selfless person in that level, but also to see that, money is not really my final cause. My final cause is, what can we do together now with what we have, This has really been something that has moved me in my entire life, where I have been changed, by the very essence of wanting to do stuff with everybody. This is in Alexandra, in 3rd Avenue. I'm with the Rastas down by the river. I'm saying, let's do this together. The guys are in 3rd Avenue, let's go to 3rd Avenue. The studio is there. I've opened a studio with Firstborn is there. I've worked with Tebogo before, doing exhibitions there. So most of my things are around there. So let's go there and do everything there, So let's put it together. This is Judah. He was a theater guy. His sister was also a fashion girl. She designed a lot of things, and they did the fashion that you saw in the video that was playing just before. And like I said, everybody took each other very seriously. It was not a joke. We were working very seriously and recording, taking data. This also is one of my nice things about myself, is that I love to record and I love to keep the records. And this is why I'm able to do this today after 20 years, or whatever, And here we see Bule's partner, girlfriend at the back, Njunju. And in the middle, Mr. Mudimule, who was sort of like a production manager, making sure that everything is on time. Wow, what a skilled individual, who I met again at Mudimule, at his farm. He took us to his family farm. I remember I left my shoes at his house. He still has my shoes. But what an awesome individual, who, I can't say what we would have done without this guy. He's such a great supporting individual who wasn't asking bad questions. Let's do this now. Here's the list. What needs to be done? I loved his data. What an amazing individual. And these are the houses. Everybody's going house to house checking. We've got Njunju. She's like really on a mission. She was like a producer girl. She'd make things happen now. I shot my video for Quest. And I remember she showed up on the day with extra cameras. Our cameras were so dead. Like secondhand things. She came with really professional stuff in the morning, like a superhero, Njunju, what an individual. And I remember I met her through, how did I meet her? Through a friend of ours from NSA. And then I found out that she was cousins with Flabbergasta, who I was in squatter camp with, who also passed away. And we sort of continued our relationship, and then she became Rasta, and then we continued our relationship here, and then, things continue in life, But these were the different houses. This was a film house, a theater house, art house. This was just following on from what I was doing from 2001, right in the same street, where I was like, okay, it's time to move things to another level. And homeowners were like, it's time to move things to another level, because somehow, some way, others were like, you can put this thing in my house, so it moved on to that. I'm glad this picture repeated itself, because Judah was also very instrumental in my life just as an individual, beyond just helping me with the arts. But I remember he won a Coca-Cola competition that took him to Germany or something, together with his girlfriend, who he had met at the time, and he got some money. I was in Cape Town at the time trying to also get a job, came back, they told me I got the job, I had to go to Cape Town, it was my birthday, I called him, asked him for some money, took me to some Bitvest account, international bank account, took out money for me, 900 Rand, to go to Cape Town and enjoy myself in my new life. Okay, I paid him at the end of the month. I remember there was another girl who used to be a DJ at YFM. Why am I forgetting her name? And you'll excuse me, I'll try put as many details of the people that I'm forgetting the names of. But this lady, I forget her name. I'll put her name down here. But she gave me the first 200 Rand to go to Cape Town, that I used to buy bread, pay for the ticket, buy Ngomazi, a cup, and a spoon, and that's what I ate for the whole 18-hour trip until I got to Cape Town, where I stayed with Sudan. Long story. Anyway, we'll get to that separate trip on a different level. Here are the youngsters here on these pictures. Now, I mean, imagine how many people we are inspiring, who used to be sitting here playing in these alleyways, in this congestion of Alexandra Township, and now they're seeing their alleyways converted into a fashion show where people see fashion. That's amazing. That's powerful. I mean, I wouldn't exchange that for anything, I remember Batabile, who's my partner at this time, who gives me my firstborn, Kulegani. Batabile, she's my partner. She's helping also with the production of the exhibition. But now she's focusing specifically on her own fashion. And she's exhibiting her own fashion here in Alexandra Township. Now, she comes from Ladysmith. She's exhibiting her fashion in Alexandra Township, okay? That's huge, And look at these children. They're watching a girl from Ladysmith who's like a fashionista of note. And I hope what they've become is something interesting, because what we see, we become, Sometimes we see it for just a day because it happened, but it influences our lives forever, And things that happen in these days, they influence my life forever, The people that were there to support me, they influenced my life forever, The people that were here to be an audience, they influenced my life forever, The photographers of these events, they influenced my life forever. The people that I have met who have helped me produce these events, they influence my life forever. It's really amazing. I'm supposed to be where right now? In a university, perhaps, learning some degree. I'm not. I'm here, right? I'm studying my life. I'm experimenting what to do in my township. There's nothing else I'm doing, right? Yeah. I've just left squatter camp also, because that's not my lifestyle. I'm not really onto that. And I think it's going to be really good for me just to do like a squatter camp video, just explaining that whole life journey, which is also very interesting. And I grew up in a very different way at that time, because also that's my music journey, and I'm learning how to organize music products and distributing them and performing them, And here's Batabile, that's my partner at this time. She becomes Rasta together with me, and she's personally also on her own journey, but we supporting each other. Like, you doing fashion, let's move, I'm doing this shop, let's move, and which taught me a lot also, because I'm the type of person who likes to share. Thank you very much. Look out for our other episodes, and don't forget to join our journey.